In the vast expanse of space, at the heart of a glittering galaxy, the Galactic Council gathered in a grand chamber that stretched high into the heavens. This room, filled with representatives from the most powerful and technologically advanced alien civilizations, was designed to awe and intimidate any who dared enter. The Council was a place where decisions that affected the fate of entire star systems were made. But today, the attention of this powerful assembly was fixed on one thing: Earth. A massive holographic display flickered to life in the center of the room. The image projected showed Earth's warships, old and worn, floating in the depths of space like ancient relics of a forgotten time. These ships, once proud defenders of humanity, now appeared outdated, with their faded hulls and crumbling structures. To the aliens, they were a joke. Laughter filled the room. The sound echoed through the chamber like the roar of a distant storm. The alien leaders, with their advanced minds and superior technology, looked at the hologram with disdain. They mocked humanity's attempts to be taken seriously. Primitive, one of them sneered, a towering creature with 6 eyes and a voice that resonated like thunder. These ships are nothing more than a galactic embarrassment. They stand no chance against our power. Another alien, a sleek being with shimmering silver skin, scoffed. Let them play their little games. It will be amusing to watch them fail. As the aliens continued to jeer, the camera shifted to reveal more details of the Relic fleet. The ships were enormous, their metal frames weathered by years of service, with visible scars from battles long past. Yet, despite their worn appearance, there was something undeniably powerful about them. It was clear that these ships had seen more than their fair share of combat, surviving against all odds. But to the Galactic Council, they were no more than toys, a poor imitation of true power. On the sidelines, Captain Elias Carter, the commander of Earth's fleet, stood silently. He was a tall, broad-shouldered man with piercing blue eyes that seemed to reflect the weight of the entire human race. His dark hair, slightly graying at the edges, gave him a weathered appearance, yet his posture was unbroken, his expression calm and focused. As the laughter of the aliens filled the room, he remained stoic, though his clenched jaw betrayed the frustration that simmered just beneath the surface. Captain Carter had seen it all before: the mockery, the ridicule. But this time, something was different. The aliens had underestimated humanity, and he knew that this time, humanity would show them what it was truly capable of. In his heart, he carried the spirit of every man, woman, and child on Earth, and he was determined to prove to these superior beings that Earth's warships were more than just relics. As the mockery continued, a small, barely audible beep interrupted the laughter. The room fell silent. The holographic image of Earth's fleet flickered and shifted, replaced by a distress signal. A bright red warning light flashed across the display, and an urgent voice crackled through the communication system. Distress signal. Neutral planet under attack. Pirate fleet, requesting immediate assistance. The Galactic Council's members exchanged confused glances. The pirates were not part of any formal military force. They were mercenaries, scavengers who roamed the galaxy, preying on weaker civilizations. The news of their sudden attack on a neutral planet sent ripples through the Council. This was not part of the plan. For a brief moment, the Council members looked at one another, unsure of how to respond. They had gathered here to showcase their technological supremacy over the human fleet, to prove that Earth's ships were nothing more than outdated relics. But now, with the pirates causing chaos in the galaxy, their grand demonstration was at risk. The tension in the room was palpable. The Council members, their minds quick and calculating, began to murmur among themselves. There was a decision to be made, one that would affect not only the fate of the neutral planet, but the credibility of the Galactic Council itself. A tall, imposing alien with dark blue skin and sharp, angular features spoke first. "We cannot allow this disruption to continue," it said, its voice cold and calculating. "Our warships are superior. We will send a fleet to deal with the pirates. It will be a perfect opportunity to demonstrate our strength." The others nodded in agreement, their voices a chorus of arrogance. "Yes, let us handle this. Earth's fleet can only be a hindrance in this situation. We will deal with the pirates swiftly and show them the consequences of defying us." Captain Carter's expression darkened as he listened to the conversation unfold. He knew what was coming. The Council, in its arrogance, was preparing to withdraw its forces from the exercise, leaving humanity to deal with the pirate threat alone. The pirates were not just any criminals. They were a ruthless band of mercenaries, armed with weapons that could tear apart even the most advanced fleets. As the council members discussed their plans, Captain Carter stood up, his voice cutting through the air. "If you choose to abandon this exercise, the people of that neutral planet will suffer. The pirates will slaughter them if left unchecked." The council leaders exchanged glances, but made no move to challenge the human captain. In their eyes, humanity was too weak to be of any real concern. "You are free to assist them, Captain Carter," one of the aliens said dismissively. "But do not expect us to waste our resources on such a trivial matter." The council, in its arrogance, decided to abandon the exercise. Earth's fleet was left to face the pirates alone. The warships, outdated in the eyes of the aliens, were all humanity had to defend itself and the innocent planet under attack. As the council members left the room, their laughter fading into the background, Captain Carter turned to his crew. The flicker of doubt in his mind had been replaced with a burning resolve. This was Earth's moment to show the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. It was time to prove that the so-called Relic fleet was far more dangerous than anyone had realized. He strode confidently towards the command deck, his voice calm but filled with determination. "Prepare the fleet. We leave immediately. It's time to remind the galaxy what humans are capable of." The crew, loyal and determined, responded with swift precision. The old warships, once thought to be obsolete, roared to life. Their engines hummed with power, and their weapon systems activated with a sudden thunderous burst. The ships were no longer just relics of the past. They were a force to be reckoned with. As Captain Carter looked out at the stars, he knew that this was just the beginning. The aliens had made a fatal mistake. They had underestimated humanity, and now they would see the full force of Earth's strength. The Relic fleet was no joke. And soon, the galaxy would know it. The vast expanse of space seemed quiet, almost peaceful, but beneath this calm, something extraordinary was unfolding. Earth's fleet, once mocked as nothing more than ancient relics, was coming to life. Despite the Galactic Council's abandonment, Captain Elias Carter knew that this was humanity's chance to shine. The pirate fleet was making its move, and Earth's warships, those very relics the aliens had so casually dismissed, were about to show just how far their true power went. From a distance, the fleet of Earth's warships looked like nothing more than aging, rusted vessels. Their steel hulls were scarred by years of battles long past, their edges dented and their frames looking like they had been left to decay in the vacuum of space. To the naked eye, they appeared to be nothing more than relics of a bygone era, but the truth was far from it. Inside these ships, advanced technologies were hidden away from prying eyes. These technologies, developed in secret over the years, were the heart and soul of Earth's combat strength. Captain Carter and his crew had always known that the old ships weren't just old, they were carefully upgraded, every part reinforced, and every system modernized beyond what anyone could imagine. The hum of the engines powered up as the first ship in the fleet, the U.S. Valiant, roared to life. Its engines flared with a sudden brilliance, the sound of power surging through the ship's metallic body. Despite its old, rusted exterior, the ship's weapon systems came online with a low, menacing growl. Plasma cannons, A-powered targeting systems, and shield generators activated as if they had never been dormant. Other ships followed suit, each one lighting up with the same intensity. The once silent and slow-moving relics of the past now moved with purpose and power, as if they were resurrected by the hands of their creators. the U.S. Defiant, the U.S. Vanguard, and the U.S. Sentinel. These were Earth's pride, each one bristling with hidden tech that made them anything but outdated. Their cloaking devices shimmered to life, cloaking them in near invisibility. Their advanced plasma shields came online, flickering as a protective barrier of energy surrounded each vessel, turning them into nearly invincible fortresses in space. The pirate fleet, lurking on the horizon, had no idea what was coming for them. They were a ruthless, well-armed force of marauding mercenaries, and they had already begun attacking a neutral planet. They believed they could continue to do so without fear of reprisal, that no one would be foolish enough to challenge their dominance in the galaxy. The Galactic Council had dismissed Earth, leaving the pirates to their whims, unaware that humanity was now mobilizing for a confrontation unlike anything they could imagine. As Captain Carter stood on the bridge of the U.S. Valiant, his hands clasped behind his back, his crew worked swiftly, preparing for the battle ahead. The tension in the air was thick. There was no room for mistakes. Earth's fleet was outnumbered, underfunded, and looked down upon by the rest of the galaxy. But that didn't matter. They were going to show the universe the heart and soul of humanity. A quiet murmur ran through the crew as they gathered, awaiting their captain's orders. Carter turned to face them, his expression steady, though there was a flicker of emotion in his eyes. He wasn't just commanding a fleet. He was leading humanity's fight for respect, for survival. This was their moment. Standing before them, Captain Elias Carter spoke with a calm determination that immediately silenced the room. They may laugh at us, they may mock our ships, but today we prove them wrong. Today we remind the galaxy that Earth is not a place of weakness. Today we show them that no matter how old or worn our fleet may seem, we have something far stronger: heart, courage, and the will to fight. We will take the fight to the pirates, and we will make them regret ever underestimating us. His words resonated through the crew, each one of them inspired by the resolve in his voice. They were no longer just soldiers. They were defenders of their home, of their families, of everything they had fought for. The emotion in the air was palpable, and it drove each one of them to their stations with newfound urgency. They knew what was at stake. The fleet began to move. The warships, now fully powered and equipped with all their advanced tech, glided smoothly through space, their cloaking devices rendering them nearly invisible to the untrained eye. The pirates, still oblivious to the looming threat, continued their assault on the neutral planet, thinking they had the upper hand. Little did they know that Earth's Relic fleet was on its way, silent, deadly, and ready for action. As the fleet closed in on the pirate position, Captain Carter and his crew observed the pirates from a safe distance. The enemy fleet, composed of several large warships and dozens of smaller vessels, was focused on their destruction of the neutral planet's defenses. They hadn't even noticed Earth's fleet approaching, the cloaked ships moving ever closer. "Ready the plasma cannons," Carter ordered, his voice steady but filled with purpose. "Target their lead ship. Let's send them a message." His crew moved swiftly, each person performing their duties with precision. The U.S. Valiant locked onto the largest pirate warship, its targeting system automatically calculating the best shot. With a hiss of energy, the plasma cannons fired, sending a blast of blue-hot energy streaking across the void of space. The pirate ship never saw it coming. The blast struck it directly, causing a massive explosion that sent shockwaves through the battlefield. The pirates were thrown into disarray. Their ships, once confident and sure of their victory, now scrambled to react. But it was too late. The first shot had been fired, and the humans were not backing down. Meanwhile, on the ground, the Galactic Council watched the unfolding events through their advanced monitoring systems. The aliens who had once mocked Earth's fleet now watched in stunned silence. They had expected the pirates to wipe the humans out with ease, but what they saw instead was a fleet of warships that had risen from the ashes of their past, showing the true might of Earth's technology and determination. "Impressive," muttered one of the aliens, a being covered in shimmering blue scales. I didn't expect them to strike so decisively. But this will still be a slaughter. Their ships are too outdated. Perhaps, said another alien, a tall creature with a skeletal frame. But there is something about their resolve. It's unnerving. Back on Earth's fleet, the battle raged on. Each warship was a testament to human ingenuity, and despite their initial appearances, the pirates found themselves facing an enemy that was unlike anything they had expected. The U.S. Valiant continued to fire, its plasma weapons cutting through pirate ships like a hot knife through butter. The U.S. Defiant and the U.S. Vanguard followed suit, unleashing devastating bombardments that tore through enemy lines. But it wasn't just the advanced weapons that made Earth's fleet so deadly. It was the spirit of its crew. Each soldier aboard these ships fought not just for survival, but for something greater, for their home, their people, and their place in the galaxy. The pirates, once so confident in their superiority, were now realizing the cost of underestimating humanity. As the battle intensified, Captain Carter stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the unfolding chaos. He knew that this was only the beginning. The pirates were only the first test. Soon, the entire galaxy would learn that Earth's fleet was far from outdated. It was a force to be reckoned with. And as the battle continued, Earth's warships, once thought to be nothing more than relics, proved that sometimes the greatest power lies not in advanced technology, but in the will to fight. The first missile streaked across the dark expanse of space, its high-pitched whine filling the air of the U.S. Valiant as it sped toward the ship. The pirate fleet had finally realized their mistake, and they were coming in hard. In a series of rapid, coordinated movements, Earth's warships responded with a chilling efficiency. The U.S. Valiant activated its cloaking device, disappearing from sight just as the pirate missile hurtled past its former location. A split second later, a barrage of plasma fire erupted from the cloaked ship, catching the pirates off guard. The pirate ships were designed for speed and brute force, but they lacked the precision of Earth's ships, and they paid the price for underestimating their enemy. With every attack, the pirates found themselves losing ground. Earth's warships were old, yes, but they were far from helpless. Captain Elias Carter's voice echoed through the comm system, steady and calm despite the chaos surrounding them. Keep them off balance. Hit them before they even know where we are. The pirates' lead ship, a massive vessel bristling with weaponry, attempted to regroup, but Earth's ships were already upon them. The U.S. Defiant uncloaked at close range, its plasma cannons lighting up the night sky with a fiery brilliance that tore through the pirate ship's shields. The pirate ship's energy shields flared, but they buckled under the intensity of the blast. The first pirate ship exploded in a burst of light, a fitting testament to Earth's precision strikes. Pirates scrambled to retaliate, firing blind into space, hoping to hit something, anything. The U.S. Sentinel darted through the melee, its cloaking device flickering in and out as it danced between incoming fire. Its advanced targeting systems picked off pirate ships one by one, hitting weak spots that sent the enemy ships spiraling into chaos. The pirates were no longer confident, no longer in control. They were realizing that Earth's fleet wasn't the joke they had thought it was. In the middle of the battle, Lieutenant Sarah Matthews, a young pilot aboard the U.S. Valiant, found herself in a position she could never have imagined. A pirate missile, fired from one of the enemy's fastest ships, was locked onto the U.S. Valiant. It was a direct hit, and there was no time to evade. The missile was fast, its trajectory unavoidable. Lieutenant Sarah's hands flew over the controls as she readied her ship's defensive systems, but it was clear that her ship wasn't going to make it. Without hesitation, Sarah's voice crackled over the comms. "Captain, I'm going to intercept it." Before anyone could respond, she activated the ship's advanced plasma shields and set her ship on a collision course with the missile. The crew of the U.S. Valiant watched in horror as the young pilot's ship shot forward, its nose aimed straight for the incoming threat. "Sarah, no," Captain Elias Carter shouted, but it was too late. Lieutenant Sarah's ship collided with a pirate missile, and the force of the impact erupted in a blinding flash. A shockwave rippled through space, and the crew of the U.S. Valiant was thrown to the floor by the sudden blast. When the light faded, all that remained was the lingering remnants of Sarah's sacrifice. The crew fell silent. There were no words to describe the weight of the loss. Lieutenant Sarah Matthews, one of the youngest pilots in the fleet, had given her life to protect the ship. Her actions saved the U.S. Valiant, but at a terrible cost. The crew felt the void left by her absence, her bravery, but her sacrifice fueled their resolve. They weren't just fighting to win. They were fighting for her. "We'll honor her," Captain Carter said quietly, his voice filled with a mix of grief and determination. "But we keep fighting. We keep fighting for her. For all of us." A moment of silence passed, and then the comms came to life again. "Captain, we've taken out their lead ship, but the pirates are regrouping. They're not going to back down," reported Lieutenant Simmons, one of the U.S. Valiant's tactical officers. Carter nodded grimly, turning to his crew. "Prepare for the next wave. We're not done yet." The pirate fleet, though shaken, wasn't finished. Despite the devastation Earth's fleet had caused, they regrouped and began to push forward once again. But there was something strange in the air, something off about the way the pirates were fighting now. It wasn't just their sheer determination. It was as if they had been given new orders, a sudden rush of tactical coordination that wasn't typical of a pirate fleet. As the battle raged on, Captain Carter's instincts told him something wasn't right. He scanned the battlefield, his mind racing for answers. He knew the pirates were ruthless, but the coordination they were now showing seemed too advanced for a band of marauders. Could they have received help? Then, as his ship's sensors pinged with new data, Captain Carter saw it. There was a faint but distinct energy signature emanating from the pirate fleet's center. It was cloaked, masked, but it was there. He had seen it before, on the Galactic Council's warships. It was the signature of a hidden alien faction, one that had supported the pirates from the shadows. The pirates might have been leading the charge, but they were not the true masterminds behind this assault. A chill ran down Carter's spine as the realization hit him. The pirates were just pawns, and the true threat was still out there, waiting to strike. This wasn't just a random raid. Earth was facing a larger conspiracy, one that was far more dangerous than any single enemy fleet. Someone, an unseen force, was backing the pirates, pulling their strings from behind the scenes. Carter turned to his crew, his voice firm. "We've got a bigger problem. This wasn't just a pirate attack. They've got help. There's an alien faction supporting them, and they're using the pirates as their pawns." The news hit the crew like a punch to the gut. The pirates had been bad enough, but now it seemed like Earth was being targeted by a hidden enemy, one with advanced technology and unknown motives. It was clear that this battle was only the beginning of something much larger, something that could change the fate of the galaxy. But despite the new revelation, Captain Carter knew one thing: humanity wasn't going to back down. Earth's fleet may have been old, but they had something far more powerful than advanced technology or hidden factions. They had the will to survive, the will to fight, and the courage to take on any enemy, no matter how insurmountable the odds. The pirates and their alien backers had made a grave mistake by underestimating humanity. They had awakened a force that would not be easily defeated. And as the battle continued, Captain Carter swore that Earth would show the galaxy exactly what it meant to mess with humanity. The fight was far from over, but Earth's warships were roaring to life. And the pirates would soon learn that mocking Earth had been their worst mistake. The sounds of battle reverberated through space, each explosion, each strike on the hull of a pirate ship sending a jolt through the Earth fleet. The pirates had underestimated humanity. They had laughed at the outdated Earth fleet, thinking it would be no match for their superior firepower. But now, the pirates were learning a hard lesson. Humans fought differently. Captain Elias Carter stood at the command center of the U.S. Valiant, his eyes glued to the tactical display. The Earth fleet, despite their outdated ships, had managed to adapt and fight back with precision. They had taken out several pirate vessels, but there was still work to be done. The pirates weren't backing down. If anything, they were becoming more aggressive. The fight had escalated into a brutal exchange of fire and cunning maneuvers. The close-quarters combat that followed was like a deadly ballet, each ship engaging in a dance of destruction. Earth's warships were no longer cloaked. They had reappeared on the battlefield with a vengeance. The U.S. Valiant, flanked by the U.S. Defiant and U.S. Sentinel, tore through pirate ships, their advanced targeting systems and plasma cannons disintegrating enemy vessels with pinpoint accuracy. But it wasn't just the ships that were engaged in combat. As the battle raged, robotic drones and soldiers from both sides were fighting in zero gravity, exchanging fire in the tight confines of crippled pirate ships. Earth's drones, advanced yet hidden in their aging vessels, fought with terrifying speed and efficiency. Each battle was personal, each drone acting as an extension of the soldiers themselves. Their movements were precise, surgical, as they wiped out pirate forces one after another. The U.S. Valiant's own robotic drones were deployed on a boarding mission. They leaped from the ship's airlocks and onto a pirate vessel, taking on pirate soldiers in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. The drones' glowing red eyes reflected the chaos around them as they ripped through the pirate crew, cutting through armor with ease. Meanwhile, on the ground, soldiers armed with energy rifles made their way through the corridors of the pirate ships, firing at any enemies who crossed their path. Explosions shook the hulls of the enemy ships, and Earth's forces pressed forward with relentless determination. But just as it seemed the pirates were on the verge of being overwhelmed, something unexpected happened. The pirate fleet, battered and broken, revealed their final weapon. A colossal superweapon, hidden within their flagship. The massive ship, already heavily damaged, suddenly lit up with an ominous, intense glow. "Captain, we've got a problem," Lieutenant Simmons shouted over the comms. "They're powering up a superweapon. It's on their flagship. If they fire it, it could destroy everything within a 500-mile radius." The tension in the command room thickened as Carter processed the information. He had been anticipating a strong retaliation, but this was a game changer. The pirate fleet had just unveiled their trump card. Captain Carter's heart raced as he watched the superweapon charge up. He knew that if it fired, the Earth fleet would be obliterated in a single destructive blast. The fate of his crew, his soldiers, and the entire fleet now rested on a razor-thin edge. The odds were stacked against them, and for a moment, a sense of hopelessness threatened to overwhelm him. But then, Elias Carter remembered why they were there. This wasn't just about saving Earth. This was about showing the galaxy that humanity would never be conquered. This was about proving the pirates, and everyone else, wrong. They may have laughed at humanity's fleet, but they weren't laughing now. And they sure weren't going to laugh when humanity finished this fight. "All ships, listen up." Captain Carter's voice rang through the fleet's communication channels. "We may be outnumbered, and we may be underpowered, but we have something they don't. We have the will to fight. We have the will to survive. I'm not letting them destroy this fleet. We fight to the last man, and we show them what humans are made of. Let's go, people. We take that weapon down." His words cut through the tension like a knife, and the crew responded with renewed vigor. The Earth fleet moved into position. They had no choice but to strike at the heart of the pirate flagship before the weapon could fire. There was no room for mistakes. Captain Carter turned to his tactical officers. "Prepare the U.S. Valiant for a direct assault. We're going in for the super weapons core." As the ships closed in on the pirate flagship, the Earth fleet's final reserves were mobilized. Every ship, every soldier knew that this would be their final push. The pirates had pushed them to the brink, but now, Earth was pushing back with everything it had left. The U.S. Valiant was the first to engage. Its plasma cannons opened fire, and the first barrage slammed into the flagship's shields, causing them to flare bright blue. The pirate ship shuddered under the impact, but its shields held strong. The pirate fleet responded with a furious hail of fire, but Earth's fleet dodged and weaved, their cloaking devices giving them a deadly edge. The battle raged as ships danced between blasts, desperately trying to avoid being caught in the superweapon's destructive path. Captain Carter's mind raced as he plotted their next move. There was no time to waste. His eyes locked onto the tactical display. The pirate flagship's superweapon was almost fully charged. He had one shot, one chance to destroy it before it could fire. "Lieutenant Simmons, give me everything you've got. Focus fire on the superweapon's core," Carter barked. Simmons didn't hesitate. The U.S. Valiant pivoted, unleashing a devastating volley of plasma fire directly at the heart of the pirate flagship. For a moment, time seemed to slow. The energy blast slammed into the flagship, sparks flying as the pirate ship's hull began to crack and buckle under the assault. A massive explosion erupted from within the flagship, the superweapon detonating in a blinding flash of light. The shockwave sent out a pulse of energy that knocked several Earth ships off course. But despite the chaos, the fleet had succeeded. The pirate flagship was destroyed, and with it, their superweapon. However, the victory came at a cost. The U.S. Valiant had taken significant damage in the assault, its hull battered and scorched. Many of its drones and soldiers were lost during the final boarding action. Yet despite the losses, the fleet stood tall. As the last pirate ships retreated into the darkness of space, Captain Carter stood at the command center, surveying the damage. His crew was battered, but they were alive. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had struck back, and the pirates had been forced to retreat. The silence on the bridge was deafening, but it wasn't a silence of defeat. It was a silence of triumph. They had proven that no matter how advanced the enemy was, no matter how overwhelming the odds, humanity could and would strike back. "We did it," Lieutenant Simmons said, a sense of awe in her voice. Captain Elias Carter nodded, his face weary but resolute. "We did it, but this is only the beginning. We've shown the galaxy that Earth may have a relic fleet, but we have the heart of lions. And no one, not even the most powerful aliens, can take that away from us." And with that, the fleet prepared for the next phase of the battle, knowing that humanity's strength had been proven once again. The battle in space was far from over. The Earth fleet, though battered and scarred from the previous fight, had one final desperate card to play. Captain Elias Carter knew the stakes. This mission could either end in humanity's victory or their total annihilation. The pirate fleet's superweapon was still operational, and without neutralizing it, Earth had no chance of winning the war. But to take it down, they had to infiltrate the heart of the pirate flagship, the command center where the superweapon's controls lay. Captain Carter's flagship, the U.S. Erebus, had already proven itself in the heat of battle. Now it would need to do more than just fight. It would need to be invisible. Elias, with his mind already working through the calculations, ordered the crew into action. The Erebus would approach the pirate flagship undetected, using its advanced cloaking technology to slip past enemy defenses. The rest of the Earth fleet would provide a diversion, drawing attention away from the infiltration team. Elias stood at the command center, his face set with determination. "This is it," he said, his voice calm but firm. "We get in, we disable the superweapon, and we finish this. All eyes are on us. We can't afford to fail." The crew nodded, the weight of the mission settling over them. They had faced overwhelming odds before, but this time was different. This wasn't just about survival. This was about sending a message to the galaxy. Humanity would not be underestimated. The U.S. Erebus slowly powered up its cloaking system, blending into the shadows of space as it moved toward the pirate flagship. As it neared the enemy vessel, the tension was palpable. The rest of the fleet, with their weapons blazing, kept the pirates distracted. Explosions lit up the dark void of space, and enemy ships were torn apart by Earth's relentless assault. The pirates had no idea what was coming for them. Meanwhile, inside the Erebus, Captain Carter and his team prepared for the infiltration. It would be a dangerous mission. Getting on board the flagship undetected was one thing, but making it to the control center and deactivating the superweapon was something else entirely. The stakes were higher than ever, but Captain Carter knew this was the only chance they had to turn the tide of the battle. "Team, we have one shot at this," Elias said, addressing the small group of soldiers and engineers who would be going with him. "Once we're inside, we need to move fast. Every second counts. We can't waste any time." The crew nodded, their faces set with grim determination. They were about to face the unknown, and none of them could predict what awaited them aboard the pirate flagship. But one thing was certain: they were all in this together. As the Erebus docked covertly to the enemy flagship's hull, the infiltration team suited up in tactical gear. Their mission was to breach the flagship's defenses and deactivate the superweapon. They had trained for this moment for months, but no amount of training could prepare them for the danger that lay ahead. They would be deep inside enemy territory, surrounded by pirates who would stop at nothing to protect their weapon. The team moved swiftly, their footsteps soundless as they navigated the corridors of the pirate ship. The atmosphere was tense, every movement measured, every corner cautiously checked for threats. The enemy ship was eerily quiet, and the crew couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into a trap. They'd reached the control center, and that's when things took a turn. As they entered the chamber, the pirates had anticipated their arrival. The doors slammed shut behind them, and armed pirate soldiers emerged from the shadows. A firefight broke out immediately, and chaos ensued. The team fired back, their weapons cracking in the air as they tried to hold off the pirates and protect their mission. But it was Commander Bonner, one of Earth's finest officers, who would make the ultimate sacrifice. Realizing that the team's only hope of survival was to disable the superweapon before it could be used, Commander Bonner made a choice. He would take down the weapon, even if it meant losing his life. As Bonner sprinted toward the control panel, a pirate soldier fired a shot, striking him in the chest. He staggered but kept moving, his focus unshaken. With a final push, he reached the control panel and activated the shutdown sequence. "It's done," Bonner gasped, blood staining his uniform. But as he fell to the ground, he knew that his sacrifice would give the rest of the team a chance to escape. The team, stunned by Bonner's bravery, continued the fight, pushing back the pirates as the superweapon powered down. Elias, fighting alongside his crew, couldn't help but feel the weight of Bonner's sacrifice. He had given his life to protect humanity, and they would honor it by finishing this fight. With the superweapon now offline, the team made their way back to the Erebus. They had completed their mission, but at a heavy cost. As the U.S. Erebus pulled away from the pirate flagship, Elias couldn't help but think of Commander Bonner. His death would resonate through the crew for years to come. It wasn't just a loss. It was a reminder of the price of war. Back in the command center of the U.S. Erebus, Captain Elias Carter surveyed the battlefield. The rest of the Earth fleet had been fighting fiercely, and now, with the superweapon deactivated, the balance of power had shifted. The pirates no longer had their ultimate weapon, and their fleet was beginning to crumble under the weight of Earth's relentless assault. The Earth warships moved in for the final blow. This was the moment they had been waiting for, the moment they could prove the pirates wrong. The U.S. Erebus, with its cloaking system now disabled, emerged from the shadows, and the rest of the fleet followed suit. Together, they launched a coordinated attack, their weapons unleashed in a synchronized display of power that shocked the alien observers who had been watching from afar. The pirates, who had once mocked humanity, were now on the receiving end of a brutal counterattack. The visual spectacle was awe-inspiring. Earth's warships, which had once been dismissed as relics, now appeared as a formidable force, tearing through the pirate fleet with precision and determination. The pirates, unable to defend themselves against the overwhelming might of humanity's fleet, were forced to retreat. As the battle came to a close, Captain Carter stood on the bridge of the U.S. Erebus, his face etched with exhaustion but filled with pride. Humanity had struck back, and not only had they survived, but they had emerged victorious. The pirates had learned that underestimating humans was a fatal mistake. But Elias knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and humanity had just begun to show its true strength. The turning point had been reached, and Earth's fleet had proven itself. Now, the galaxy would have to reckon with humanity. And as Captain Carter looked out at the stars, he couldn't help but think of the crew members who had given their lives for this victory, especially Commander Bonner. His sacrifice would not be forgotten. With Earth's victory, they had proven once and for all that humanity's heart, strength, and will to survive were far from primitive. They were a force to be reckoned with, and no one would dare mock them again. The battle that had started as a desperate struggle for survival was now nearing its end. Earth's warships, once mocked by the galaxy's most powerful forces, now dominated the battlefield. The pirate fleet, which had launched a relentless assault on Earth's ancient but advanced fleet, was no more. Their ships lay destroyed or fleeing, scattered across the void of space. The pirates, who had believed that their power would crush humanity in a single blow, were now facing the bitter reality of defeat. Captain Elias Carter stood at the command center of the U.S. Erebus, staring out at the destruction. The battle had been long and hard, but humanity had shown the galaxy that they were no longer to be underestimated. The pirate ships that had once mocked Earth's Relic fleet were now in ruins, their massive warships torn apart by Earth's technologically advanced, yet seemingly outdated vessels. A roar echoed through the battlefield as Earth's warships, having completed their mission, stood victorious. The once laughable fleet of primitive ships now had the respect of the entire galaxy. Elias couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride and satisfaction, but he knew this victory was only one chapter in a much larger story. Humanity had proven its strength, but this was only the beginning of their journey. As the battle subsided, the remaining pirate ships limped away, their engines sputtering as they tried to flee the devastation. Earth's fleet didn't pursue them. There was no need to. The message had been sent. Humanity was not a relic, and no one would dare laugh at them again. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council's Grand Chamber, the alien leaders watched the aftermath of the battle unfold. Their holographic displays flickered, showing the Earth fleet's triumph over the pirates. The Council had underestimated humanity from the start. They had believed that Earth's ancient warships, outdated in design and technology, would be no match for the might of their own fleets. But the pirates had paid a heavy price for their arrogance. The pirates, with all their power, had been outmaneuvered, outclassed, and ultimately defeated by Earth's fleet. In a dark, sterile room, a high-ranking alien admiral stood before a holographic screen, watching the Earth fleet's victory in real time. His face, usually calm and composed, now betrayed a sense of shock and disbelief. "We underestimated them," he muttered under his breath. "Never again." The Council's belief in their own superiority had been shattered. They had thought of Earth as a weak, primitive planet, an easy target for exploitation. But now, they had seen what humanity was capable of. Back on Earth, the celebrations were muted, as the victory was hard-earned. Captain Elias Carter knew that the true cost of the battle had not yet fully settled in. The crew had fought bravely, and many had sacrificed their lives for the greater good. Commander Bonner's death had hit the crew hard, but his sacrifice had also strengthened their resolve. The captain knew that this victory, though sweet, was tinged with sorrow. As the U.S. Erebus sailed through space, the crew gathered in the ship's common area for a debriefing. The mood was somber but proud. Elias stood before his crew, his voice firm as he addressed them. "You all fought with courage and honor," Captain Elias began. "This victory is yours. You proved that humanity is not what they think we are. You fought for Earth, for each other, and for the future of our species, and you showed the galaxy what we are capable of." His words resonated with every member of the crew, their hearts swelling with pride. The battle had been grueling, but they had emerged victorious. They had done what everyone else thought was impossible. They had turned the tide of the war and sent a powerful message to anyone who would dare challenge humanity. Humanity is no relic, Captain Elias continued. You've seen what we can do. This is just the beginning. We will not be held back. We will continue to rise, and anyone who dares to think of us as weak will regret it. The crew erupted into applause, the weight of their victory finally beginning to sink in. They had achieved the impossible, and the galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. But Captain Elias knew that this was just the first battle in a much larger war. The galaxy was vast, and while they had proved themselves today, there were many more challenges on the horizon. In the shadows of space, far beyond Earth's reach, another force was silently watching. Unseen by the humans, an alien faction had been monitoring the battle closely. The pirates' defeat at the hands of humanity had not gone unnoticed. In the dark corners of the galaxy, there were those who were plotting, waiting for the right moment to strike. They had seen what Earth was capable of, and they were not pleased. A shadowy figure, standing in a room filled with advanced technology, turned to his advisors. His eyes gleamed with cold, calculating intent. Humanity has shown its strength, but it has also shown its weakness. We will strike before they are ready. Their victory will be their downfall. The figure's voice was low and ominous, the words carrying the weight of a future war. As his advisors nodded in agreement, plans began to form in the shadows. The seeds of conflict were being planted, and the galaxy's attention would soon turn back to Earth. The victory that humanity had won would not go unchallenged. There were those who had not forgotten the arrogance of humanity, and they were preparing to strike. Captain Elias Carter, unaware of the growing threat, stood before his crew, his face a mask of determination. He knew the road ahead would be difficult, but humanity had already proven that they could face any challenge and overcome it. Earth had struck its first blow in the war for respect, but the battle was far from over. As Elias looked out into the stars, he couldn't shake the feeling that the true test of humanity's strength was yet to come. The victory had been sweet, but the war was far from finished. The shadowy alien faction was preparing for its next move, and Earth's greatest challenges had only just begun. What would humanity do when the real enemy arrived? Would they rise to the occasion once again? Only time would tell. As the U.S. Erebus sailed toward Earth, the crew of humanity's Relic fleet knew that they had earned their place among the stars. But they also knew that the galaxy had more surprises in store for them. The story of humanity's fight for survival was far from over, and the best was yet to come. And with that, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter for Earth.